On Global TV News Prime, Nigeria set to collaborate with Republic of Russia on space technology. In business, Central Bank of Nigeria releases Nigerian foreign exchange code. On the foreign scene, Kenya says Africa countries can visit without prior authorization. And in sports, Nigeria Premier Football League launches new official match ball. Hello and welcome to all our viewers in Nigeria and around the world to News Prime on Global Television. Coming to you live from the nation's capital, Abuja, I am Jumai Manson. Now, a quick reminder that Global Television is on DSTV channel 365 and free to air on Nicomsat. Now the news in full. Nigeria is in to collaborate with the Republic of Russia in the areas of space technology, agriculture, science, engineering, and mathematics to strengthen the nation's socio-economic development. The Permanent Secretary of Innovation, Science and Technology, Egbabana Asanye, announced this and said the collaboration will also focus on agriculture, science, engineering, and mathematics to strengthen the country's socio-economic development. Asanye said science does not operate in isolation. Hence the need for nations to collaborate to strengthen bilateral relationships. Akwa Ibom State Governor Umo Eno has directed the Office of the Accountant General of the state to implement the 80,000 naira minimum wage to 45,984 verified public servants in the state this January. A press statement by the Chief Press Secretary to the Governor, Ekaite Udo, says the payment is effective November 1st, 2025. Udo said the development followed the submission of the report by the Committee on the Implementation of the New Minimum Wage Personal Verification, headed by the Head of Service, Elder Effiong Essen. Edo State Governor Monday Okpebolo has approved the recruitment of 500 teachers by the State Basic Education Board to boost learning. Commissioner for Education Dr. Emmanuel Iyamu disclosed this to newsmen shortly after resumption at the Ministry of Education in Benin City. Iyamu said the recruitment of the new teachers would be done in trenches, noting that the recruitment is geared towards boosting the number of tutors presently operating across various public schools in the state. Beatrice Ekweremadu, vice of former Deputy Senate President Senator Ike Ekweremadu, has been released from prison in the United Kingdom. It had earlier been reported that Beatrice, who was sentenced to 5 years in the UK prison, returned to the country on Tuesday. Workers under the Nigerian Meteorological Agency have issued a 14-day agency ultimatum to the agency's management to address long-standing welfare concerns or face a nationwide industrial action. The union said this in a letter titled Failure to Respond to Lawful and Reasonable Demands, 14 Days Ultimatum. It was signed by Ocheme Abba of the National Union of Air Transport Employees, Sikiru Wahib of the Amalgamated Union of Public Corporation Civil Service Technical and Recreational Services Employees, and Abdul Razak Seidu of the Association of Nigerian Aviation Professionals. Former President Olusegun Obasanjo will today testify before the International Chambers of Commerce, ICC, Paris, France, in connection with the $2.3 billion attribution proceedings filed against Nigeria by Sunrise Power over an alleged breach of contract by the federal government. The chairman and CEO of Sunrise Power, Lino Adesanya, had earlier testified before the ICC in connection with the $2.3 billion arbitration proceedings his company filed against Nigeria. Obasanjo, in an interview a year ago, queried his former Minister of Power, Olu Ogunloye, how he got the prerogative to award the contract to Sunrise in 2003. The federal government, through the National Information Technology Development Agency and the Nigerian Financial Intelligence Unit, NFIU, has kick-started an initiative that will ensure the exit of the country from Action Task Force Grey List by May 2025. This initiative is a directive of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu for the NFIU to develop and implement an anti-money laundering, counter-financial terrorism, counter-proliferation of firearms data management framework and platform in collaboration with National Information Technology Development Agency. Now, at the inaugural technical session to kickstart the process at the agency's headquarters in Abuja, its Director General Kashifu Inuwa disclosed that the technical session would mark what he described as a remarkable mile in the country's journey to exit from the Financial Action Task Force grey list the nation has been enlisted into since February 2013. Over now to the Independent National Electoral Commission has stated that the Federal Capital Territory Area Council elections will be held on February 21st, 2026. The INEC Chairman Mahmood Yakubu stated this during a consultative meeting with political parties in Abuja. According to Yakubu, the last area council election in the FCT was held in February 12, 2022, adding that the tenure of the current chairman and councillors will end next year. The Senate expressed displeasure over failure to embark on population census in the country and ordered the National Population Commission (NPC) to ensure that the exercise is carried out this year. The order was given when the chairman of the NPC, Honorable Nasir Isa Kwara, appeared before the Senate Committee on National Identity and Population to defend the allocations to his agency in the 2025 budget. The committee, chaired by Senator Abdul Ningi, expressed anger over lack of headcount in the country for the past 19 years. The Jigawa State Governor has revealed that properties worth a staggering 5 billion naira were destroyed during the nationwide protests in August 2025. Chairman of the Fact-Finding Committee on the protest, Barrister Bello Fanini, disclosed this while presenting the committee's report to Governor Umar Namadi at the council chambers at the Government House in Dutse. Fanini, who also serves as the State Commissioner for Justice, stated that the destroyed properties belong to the federal, state and local government as well as private individuals. Vigilant members of the Nigerian Bar Association Udu branch in Delta State, led by David Omage, have apprehended a fake lawyer, Olubuwe Osai Silas. It was further reported that Silas was caught red-handed affixing a lawyer's seal to a document and preparing legal documents using lawyer's name. Chairman of NBA Udu branch, Edmond Oduhisi, reported the incident and filed a formal complaint at OM police station where Silas is currently being held. An officer of the National Drug Law Enforcement Agency, Kano State Command, sustained injuries during a violent confrontation with two suspects in Bebeje local government area, Kano State. The suspects, identified as Musa Usman, 25, and Buhari Yabasir, 24, were apprehended during a targeted operation at Rahmaha roundabout on January 20, 2025. The NDLEA's Public Relations Officer in Kano, Sadiq Mohammed Megatari, disclosed this in a statement. You are watching the live broadcast of News Prime on Global Television, coming to you from the nation's capital, Abuja. When News Prime returns, Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Consumer urges telecoms operators to prioritize service improvement. We shall bring you those details as well as business and sports stories right after this break. Please stay with us. You're welcome back, and if you're just tuning in, it's News Prime on Global Television. Thank you for staying with us. On our business desk, the Central Bank of Nigeria has officially approved the release of Nigerian Foreign Exchange Code, a move aimed at fostering ethical conduct and transparency within the nation's foreign exchange market. In a statement on the Apex Bank's website, it disclosed that the code will serve as a vital guideline for the banking industry, designed to ensure that authorized dealers uphold the highest standards of professionalism and integrity when conducting FX transactions. The CBN emphasized that the introduction of the FX code is part of its ongoing effort to enhance the stability and integrity of Nigeria's FX market. The Nigerian Extractive Industries Transparency Initiative has asked the Presidential Committee on Fiscal Policy and Tax Reforms to provide a clear and detailed explanation of its plans to harmonize federal and state tax laws in the proposed tax reform bill submitted to the National Assembly for approval. It also asked the committee to clarify the roles of sub-national governments in implementing the bill and identify areas needed to improve the policy gaps in the bill. The agency stated these in a statement signed and released by the Acting Director of Communications and Stakeholders Management, Obiagele Onora, following a detailed review of the draft legislation which showed extensive research and consultation. The Nigerian Labour Congress has called for the resignation of the Minister of Power, Adebayo Adelabu, over the repeated collapse of the national power grid. In a statement by the NLC President Joe Ajaero, the union expressed deep concern over the worsening state of Nigeria's electricity sector, which it described as being on the brink of total collapse. Ajaero also slammed the minister over the proposed allocation of 8 billion naira in the 2025 budget for sensitization of Nigerians on the need to pay electricity bills, accusing the Ministry of Power of prioritizing frivolous projects over critical infrastructure. The Minister of Communication, Innovation, Digital Economy, Bosun Tijani, says the 50% increase by telecommunications companies in the country was caused by inflation and the rising operation costs. He stated this while responding to questions at the 2025 budget defense session by the Joint House of Representatives and Senate Committees on Communication. He added that the move was in tandem with broader economic patterns where tariffs lead to higher consumer prices as a result of additional costs on imported goods and tariff. The Federal Competition and Consumer Protection Commission has urged telecom operators to prioritize service improvements following the recent approval of a 50% increase in telecommunications tariffs by the Nigerian Communications Commission. The statement released via its official X handle, FCCPC, acknowledged the financial pressures faced by telecom operators due to the rise in operational costs, but emphasized that consumer interests must remain central to any tariff adjustments. The Pension Commission has revealed that the federal government has released an additional 22 billion naira through the Office of the Accountant General of the Federation for accrued pension rights of retirees in MDAs under the Contributory Pension Scheme. In a statement released on its Instagram page, HT Pencom said it was for those who retired between October 2023 and January 2024. The pension regulator said those funds were dispersed into Retirement Benefits Bond Redemption Fund account at the Central Bank of Nigeria. The election of a new Taoiseach has been delayed after a bitter row in Delhi's Irish Parliament, forcing the suspension of proceedings twice. Gain Karhale Veronica Murphy called for a 15-minute suspension after Taoiseach Daley refused to stop shouting at her and take their seats. After it resumed, several TDs continued to challenge her over a decision to allow independent TDs who are supporting the government to sit on opposition benches. On the foreign scene, South Korea would change the concrete barriers used for navigation at the 9 airports across the country following December's plane crash that killed 179 people. 7 airports will also have their safety areas adopted following a review of all South Korea's airport that was carried out after the crash, the deadliest in the country's history. The Jeju air flight was bringing passengers home from Thailand after Christmas when it made an emergency landing at Muan Airport and exploded after slamming into a concrete barrier at the end of the runway. At least 10 Palestinians have been killed and nearly 40 injured by Israeli forces during a major operation in the Jenin area in the occupied West Bank, the Palestinian Health Ministry says. Palestinian media reported that there were several airstrikes as a large number of troops entered the city and its refugee camp, backed by drones, helicopters, and armored bulldozers. Israel's prime minister said it launched an extensive and significant operation to defeat terrorism in Jenin, long seen as a stronghold of Palestinian armed groups. 11 people were killed Wednesday after rumors of a fire on their train caused them to jump off and were crushed to death by another incoming train, officials said. The incident in the western Maharashtra state is the latest to the hit Indian's creaking rail network, which carries millions of passengers each day and has seen several disasters over the years. A spokesperson from India Railways was quoted by local media saying that someone had pulled the alarm chain on a Mumbai-bound train, following which a few passengers got down from the train. End of quote. Meanwhile, the United States immigration authorities have been granted the ability to arrest individuals at schools, churches, and hospitals, following President Donald Trump administration's reversal of policies that previously classified these locations as off-limits for enforcement. The policy change ends more than a decade of restrictions that protected those sensitive areas. Department of Homeland Security, which oversees immigration and customs enforcement and customs and border protection, announced the change in a statement emphasizing the importance of eliminating spaces where individuals could evade arrest. Kenya has announced a shift in its travel policies, allowing citizens of nearly all African countries to visit without prior authorization. But the introduction of electronic travel authorization, which replaced the visa requirement for all visitors, was criticized as a visa under another name. The decision, confirmed by a cabinet statement, eliminates the need for electronic travel authorization for most African visitors, apart from those from Somalia and Libya, due to security concerns. On our sports decks now, the Nigeria Premier Football League NPFL has launched its new official match balls produced by Brostar Sports ahead of second stanza of the 2023-24 season. The league body announced that the first batch of match balls was delivered earlier this week for extensive negotiations to ensure the balls met international football standards. NPFL chairman Benga Elegbeleye explained that delaying introducing the balls at the start of the season stemmed from the league's commitment to quality. Borussia Dortmund have sacked head coach Nuri Sahin following Tuesday's 2-1 Champions League loss to Bologna, citing a loss of faith in him. Dortmund, who were beaten finalists in a competition last season, have now suffered 4 consecutive defeats in all competitions. In the Bundesliga, Dortmund currently sit 10th, 20 points behind leaders Bayern Munich. German media have reported that potential successors could include former Manchester United boss Erik ten Hag, who has been seen attending Dortmund's games recently, or former Benfica and Bayer manager Roger Schmidt. As Global TV News Prime comes to an end, let's take a quick look at our top stories again. Brought to you that Nigeria is to collaborate with the Republic of Russia in the area of space technology, agriculture, science, engineering, and mathematics to strengthen the nation's social-economic development. In business, we brought to you that the Central Bank of Nigeria has officially approved the release of Nigerian Foreign Exchange Code, a move aimed at fostering ethical conduct and transparency within the nation's foreign exchange market. And on the foreign scene, Kenya has announced a shift in its travel policies, allowing citizens of nearly all African countries to visit without prior authorization. And finally, in sports, the Nigerian Premier Football League (NPFL) has launched its new official match balls produced by Brostar Sports ahead of the second stanza of 2023-24 season. And that's it on Global Television News Prime. A quick reminder that Global TV is on DSTV channel 365, on Star Times channel 276, and free to air on Nicomsat. Kindly follow us across all social media platforms now showing on your screen by using Global TV NG. I am Jumai Manson. Thank you for watching.